All right, we're back. We are COMP1006 in the winter 2017 semester, week 12, part 3 of our broadcast, and we're talking about sending email with SendGrid, part 3. Right? So what have we done so far? Well, let's take a look. So we've got our contact form, which is good. I talked about this being probably a little bit too low. Now I've changed resolution because I'm actually in another room. We're in B230 right now. So that's why it looks the way it does. But what we want to try and do is maybe think about either subtracting another row, like going to 4 rows instead of 5 rows or whatever. And we really don't have a footer. That's one thing we didn't really include in our application. We don't have a copyright statement or anything like that that goes back in the bottom. And I want to make it a sticky footer, right? You're shaking your head? You're like, no, don't make it a sticky footer. So that's something that we need to add in. But this part all works. We need to put in the code for it to trigger, and we're going to do that up in PHP Storm. So let's do that part now. So again, as I said, we have let's put this over here. We have the code that's up on GitHub from SendGrid, right? So what I wanted to do is set up a new controller that's going to be our email controller, right? Now, I'm not going to call it email controller. I'm just going to call it email. So I'm going to kind of do right-click. I'm going to send new PHP file. And we're going to call this file email. Oops, email. Yes. So inside of here is where I want to actually process my email, right? That's what this is going to do. So it's going to go to my email.php, right? And it's going to process it, right? Or I want to use the functions in here to process my email, right? It's a controller. It's not going to happen inline, okay? How does this work? So again, if I go to up online, not this, I'll go back to this in a second. If I go up online and I go to SendGrid, you see that I have a recommendation here from them on how to do it. I'm going to grab all this code right here, right, up until and including this part, copy it, and go across and paste it. Now I need to require vendor auto load, because what this is going to do is it's going to go to the vendor folder where I have my all my helper applications for SendGrid. Right? That's where it's going to go. So I need to have that involved. Now, if you didn't have Composer, you could certainly download the vendor application and install it manually yourself. Right? But we have it, and we might as well use it. Okay, so this is the first part. First part is I need to require my autoload.php in my vendor, which basically it includes all the stuff that I need for my SendGrid to work. Okay? Now this part, new email, my test email, I'm going to get from my form information, right? And I want to put all this inside a function. I don't want to just leave it hanging out here like this. This is a PHP file, yeah, but I want to make sure that I can access it by including it. Right? Where's that? No, I'm going to make it a function, right? So we're going to call this something like process email, right? That's the function. So function. The name is going to be process email, and it's not going to return anything. Okay, there's my function. I'm going to take all this stuff here, and I'm going to put it inside that function. So I'm going to cut it and put it inside there. I'm doing this because of 2 reasons. One, it compartmentalizes the function, and I can call process email anytime I want. Now, I need a couple things to process the email. I need a couple of pieces of information, right? So what piece of information do I already know I have? And I'm just going to kind of kill some of these things to go in here. So in my contact form, I know I'm getting a couple of items of information. One is my full name. Do I need my full name to send across to my my email? No, I don't really need that. I mean, I could add that in, but maybe what I want is I'm going to take my full name and add it into the message, right? Something like that. Remember, I can create my message as much in as much detail as I want, right? So I'm getting my message, I'm getting my full name, And again, if you look at my name, the name attribute carries my, oh, this is wrong. Look at that. Message should be message. So all of these things are what are my variables are going to look like. So remember, I have my super global variable $underscore post. I'm going to use the post super global variable to store all this information when I post back to this page, right? Okay, and I've done this before, right? If you look at any one of these things, even my login page, we can use this as an example. So if I go to users login, right? My users login page uses this kind of information, right? I'm going to kind of do the same idea. I'm going to kind of go through, and here's my post, my super global variable. I'm looking for username and password. In the same way, way of doing this, I want to listen for all the other things I'm getting for my contact form. Okay, so let's at the top of my PHP form. By the way, just to give you some idea of what's happening here, this form, right? Post. Where does it go? Index.php page ID is equal to login. That's the way I have to put my action in place because I'm using my router, my index.php, to route all of my pages. I can't just put contact.php because it doesn't exist, right? So let's go back to my contact form. So in my action, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say index.php, right, where my page ID, and I'm just going to get the syntax that I forget, with all respect, right? Let's go back to users login. Here it is. Page ID, capital I, lowercase d. Okay, so page ID. For page ID is equal to, again, it's going to be the contact page. All right, so I'm posting back to the contact page. Make sense? So what happens when I post back, it goes back and PHP can get the information that's coming from my name attributes, all these name attributes right here. It's getting all this information, right? And it's going to use it at the top of my page, right? Just like my login page is a partial. So my login page isn't a full page. It uses, my main with my classes container. But I still have this PHP portion up here that does some transaction. Not much, but just enough. So I'm going to do the same thing on my contact page. My contact page, I'm going to go in here, and on the top, I'm going to go PHP, right? And inside there, what I want to do is do the same idea that I did with my login page, which is get information with the underscore post, the super global variable here, right? I'm going to set up some variables. So I'm going to say something like this, $, and again, if you notice what it looks like, full name, right, is equal to, right, $, underscore post, right, and the super global variable that's going to be called full name. Where am I getting this from? This becomes the associative element in the array that's my super global variable. Okay, and let's continue. So $_ email. Right now, this is my email, but it's my email address, and I got to be careful because I'm going to use email somewhere else, right? So I'm going to call this email address. Right? I'm going to make that equal to $_ underscore post, right? And then email. And then the next one, right? So it's going to be contact number. So my super global variable should say contact number. I'm going to do the same thing, contact number. You can make it so that you can choose one way or another. Like, for example, I'm using full name. I use full name like this, like use it camel case, just to separate it. It's up to you. You can also use underscores. Use one. And again, it's going to be contact number. So this is the information I'm getting from my form. And the last one, of course, is message. So I want to say $message, right, is equal to $_posts, and then it's message. Okay, cool. So I've got all this stuff, right? And what I also want to do is I want to check to see if my full name has been filled out. What if I post to this page somehow and there's no information? Then I'm going to have a problem, right? I don't want to process anything unless I have a full name that's fully made, right? So just like I did before with my login page, this is an easy check. I'm going to do this if is set $_post full name, right? And if it's true, then I'm going to do the processing. Otherwise, I won't. Okay? Well, for this one, for sure. Right? So, no, just one. I don't, because if one's set, all of them are set. You can't submit the page without all of them being set out anyway. Right? This is just an additional check to make sure. So if is set, and then in brackets $_post, and then it's going to be full name. If that's true, that's what it's checking for, a true condition. Then and only then do I want to do this, set these variables. And then and only then do I want to include my PHP, this email.php, right? Notice what I did with the login. I did the same thing. I set the variables, and then I included once this controllers, right? So I want to kind of do the same thing. I want to do the same thing. So I'll copy this and go back to my contact. And then after all these have been set, I want to do this. But it won't be users I want. It's going to be email.php. Right? So I include controllers email.php. And then when I'm there, because my email.php has my process email, right? That's what I want to do. I want to kind of call process email. Notice that it comes up. But I don't want to just process email. I want to pass stuff back to it, right? So my function should take my full name, my email address, my contact number, and my message, and then do something with them. So I want to pass them all in that order. So I want to do full name, email address, contact number, and then message. So these are all the parameters I'm passing back. But right now, my process email function doesn't do that. So I got to make it do it. So again, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to take this header, since I have it already, copy it, go back to my email.php, right? And up here, and I'm going to paste it. So full name, email address, contact number, and message, I now have access to inside my function. This is good. This is good because instead of from being testexample.com, it'll be from email address. So it'll be email address, right? That makes sense. So I'm getting the email address from the email, whatever you enter in, and I'm doing that. Subject, and this is where I would put in something like email from contact form. So I kind of understand that it's coming from the contact form. This email that I'm getting is coming from the contact form. Someone's trying to contact me through my page, right? Now, 2, that's to me. So this is some valid email address, and I'm going to put it to me. Right now, I'm going to use mine. You can also use, by the way, an environment variable for this, right? Where you set up the, you don't want to share it here, like on GitHub, right? You can hide it by putting into the environment variable on your server, putting in something like webmaster email, right? So you don't share it on GitHub so that you can't get spammed. Otherwise, if they have access to your GitHub, now you can get spammed. Everyone knows your email address. For me, I don't care, but that's what you could do. This part is important. Content, all right? So I don't want to put hello email. I definitely want to pass in my message, which is message, right? So now I'm missing a couple pieces of information. I don't know where my full name, what's happening with my full name, and I don't know what's going on with my contact number, but email address and message definitely being used, right? So what can I do here? Because I want to pass in some kind of the ability for me passing my full name and my contact number. Well, I could compose my message a little differently. I could say message, right, is dot equals to, right? So I want to kind of add to, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but basically what this allows me to do is add or append some stuff to the bottom of the message. I want to use a \n, so new line character, and inside the new line character, I want to append again the my full name, right? And I mean, maybe what I want to do is also kind of append something that says full name, right? Full name, dot. And then plus, again, another dot, full name, and then plus a new line character, right? And then, actually, this is wrong. I should probably put these together. Might as well, instead of making it that way. And then this one would be my contact number. By the way, stop me if you don't understand what I'm doing, please, because there is a reason. There's a message to there's a method to my madness. Contact number, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm saying, hey, message. Take the original message that you got in. What I answer, hey, hello, how are you? I need information about your product. Whatever they're going to say, right? And then you're going to add a new line character, and then on the bottom it's going to say, full name is this. And if you want, you can add new line characters if you want, like some kind of formatting, right? That takes down a couple of lines inside the body of the email that's being sent to you. That says the full name is this, the contact number is this. Yes.
That dot equals would be the same as equals.
Plus equals.
Message,
Plus equals.
and then connecting.
Yeah, it's like plus equals, and it's a shortcut for message is equal to message plus
That, yeah.
whatever it's going to be. Dot equals.
Is there a shortcut for getting it at the beginning?
What do you mean?
Because you're adding it to the end of the message right there, right?
Yeah, you can do the same thing. You can do this, and then dot
Is there
equals
like
the
a
message.
shortcut, like dot equals to get that stuff at the beginning of the message?
Yeah, well, you'd
Yeah, it's just different.
yeah, you could what you want to say is you'd say message is equal to whatever it's going to be
Okay,
plus
I
the
wasn't sure
message.
if there's another, like, quick one, like
No.
dot equals.
No, you can do the other way. It can't do it that way. You'd still append, right? You say dot equals to, so it's equal to message plus. But instead of saying dot equals, you say message is equal to whatever the stuff at the beginning is,
And then
dot message, whatever, same thing. And maybe that's better. I don't know. You can also add in lines, other kind of formatting in here, whatever you want, right? All right, now my SendGrid API key. This is the key, right? So inside here, I want to, my API key is, now it says get env, and I'm going to put my API key in here. But notice that my API key is get env. I don't want to use that. I want to use the other way. I want to say ._env, right? And then whatever the SendGrid API key I put in, I'm just going to confirm what I put in there. So if I look at my settings and I will config variables, then it's this part, SendGrid API. So just make sure I got the right things. If I don't name it properly, it'll fail. Right, SendGrid API. So I'm getting that from the server, right, and attaching it. Then SendGrid, SG is equal to SendGrid, and I'm passing in the API key. Then this will actually do the mailing. So send the mail. So send the mail. Now what happens if my response is negative, right? Because I'm not really using it. I can test for it, because what does this return, right? So if I do a post, like look, a lot of stuff is happening here. It's kind of a chain, right? So SendGrid client, mail, send, post, my mail message, whatever it is, right? And I want to see if I can actually get code hinting on here. I don't think I can. That's the one thing I would love to see, because I can't do that, the post. But I'm pretty sure that response is going to be returning some value, right? So whatever it is. And for you to check, I mean, you have to check the API documentation, whatever the response is. What does it return? It says the SendGrid mail constructor creates a personalization object for you. Here's an example of how to add it, right? So the personalization object allows you to basically personalize your email. Here's great examples of how you can send all kinds of stuff here. And so there's lots of options. Here's something they call the kitchen sink, which is, okay, send all kinds of information over email, right? Which is really cool. Like example users and mail and everything else. And then what I want to check for is if the mail was successful. I can add headers, all kinds of stuff, right? But all I care about is if my mail gets sent, right? So somehow it made it out. And I want to be able to check to see that the response worked. And I'm pretty sure that the response itself, the response object that they've created here, gives me my status code that it worked or whatever, right? We're going to explore that. But for now, save it and let's test it. Okay, so what have I done? This part here is my process email. This is my function, right? My process email function. I pass in values in here, and then I perform the sending of the email. Whatever the user entered into my form gets sent to my email personally, right? That's what happens. And if you're the owner of the website, it would happen for you. You're the webmaster, whoever is supposed to receive the email, sales or whatever. Maybe you have a general email box that you create for the user. Then it goes there. Okay. All right, cool. So I've got this part. I've got my contact page. Now let me put it up to GitHub. Let's try this out and see if it works again. So git add dot, git commit -m, and I'll say added email controller. And I'm waiting for my errors. I want to see those errors pop up, right? And then git push origin master. Hopefully, this will be everything we need to make everything work. All right, let's go back up online, and I'm going to go to activity, and let's see if it's going to work. And there it goes. Let's view the build. I like viewing the build because I can see what's going on, if it's having an issue or whatever, and if it's going to work. And it looks like it's good to go. Build finished. So I can open my app. And I can go to my contact page, right? And let's see if now, did forget something, right? We're processing the email, fantastic. But then what? It's going to just keep us there, right? We don't have a message, we have nothing. In fact, we want to return that everything worked, right? I want to return that everything works somehow. I got to check to see if we're good. Right. So for now, before we do this, because this is going to fail right now, or it won't do anything. It won't show me anything. I want to kind of show a message. So in my contact page, here's my contact page. I process my email, and when I'm done processing, if this returns true, right? If it returns true, and by the way, for now, I'm going to make it return true. So under my email.php, I'm going to make this whole thing return. Right, true, always, for now. It's just a default test that I'm just returning true. It worked, right? But eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test to see what my response is, and if my response is positive, whatever that's going to be, whatever I get back from my response, fantastic, return true. Otherwise, return false. Didn't go somehow, right? All right, okay, cool. And then what I'm going to test for that, I'm going to say in my contact page, I'm going to say if process email, blah, 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 blah. If that's true, right, then redirect. I want to redirect myself back, maybe send a message and redirect myself back to my page and send that message out, right? So at the top of my contact form, say email has been sent, right? Yes. The same thing, but a pop-up is kind of obtrusive, right? And I want to do it inside my actual page itself, right? And I kind of did that already with my login, right? If you looked at my login or my at the top, notice that I have this PHP if statement. If message is not equal to blank, then make an alert danger, right? Right? I can also check to see if it's equal to not blank, if it's equal to true or positive, right? like we're good kind of thing, then, you know, show me the message, right? There's all kinds of ways you can do that. And I want to show the message in here. So this is the kind of stuff I want to do, and I want to put it at the top of my page. So I want to kind of take this little snippet and go back to my contact form. And at the top of my contact form right here, before my container class, I want to put that in. I want to kind of, and let me see if I did it in the right place. Actually, it's inside my container. So let's undo that, and I want to put it in here. So why am I doing this? I'm saying, well, if message is not equal to something, show the message, whatever the message is going to be. But right now we're saying alert danger. And what I want to do is kind of say an alert, a different kind of alert, maybe an alert warning that kind of says, hey, here's it's been sent. A yellow, it's going to come up yellow, right? So whatever the message is. So I'm saying if we're good, send a message that says, send a messages. Now we got to be really careful here because notice that I have message and messages. Well, that's really close, right? But anyways, I think message is different. It's case sensitive, so I can do this. Message is equal to, you know, message has been sent. That's what you were asking for, Thomas, right? Else, if it's not positive, it's negative somehow, we're going to say messages is equal to problem sending message. Whatever that is. We don't know yet. We can't test it any other way. Right now, it's always going to say message has been sent when we go over here, right? Eventually, we're going to say it's not working. Cool. Let's update this now. So we'll say, and we have to redirect. So message we're redirecting back to our page. So it's going to come back to here, and it's going to actually process this page again, right? It's going to redo our page again. So it's going to leave our message. We're back into the contact page. We're not going to redirect ourselves this way. Okay, so let's try this. So I want to say git add dot, git commit -m, and we'll say updated or added messages to the contact page. Git push origin master, and that's going to push out. Makes sense? Anyone have any issues with this so far? All right, let's test it, finally. So I'm going to go back here, and soon. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to activity, and I want to see that I just deployed less than a minute ago. I want to open my app on yet another page. See how many times it opens up before it crashes. Come on. And then click contact us, and then let's try send the message. So I'm going to say Tom, right? And then here's my email, my contact number, and my message. This is a test message, and click submit. Okay. This might be a good thing and a bad thing. I may have not done things correctly, but it's definitely done something. Well, it went to contact. Page ID is equal to contact, right? And let's see if I got any kind of errors. I'm not going to get any errors in my console. This part doesn't show any errors, right? But it tried to go to contact. And if I actually press enter here, it should show the contact page again, right? So something went wrong. And we don't know what it is. I don't know if I even got the email. Let's check. So I'm going to go into my Outlook. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Actually, let's just check my phone. The time I log in and blah, blah, blah. It's just too long. Well, I'm not sure if it worked, right? That's the thing that I don't know, right? So there's a way of checking. It's okay. How many emails? I got clutter and I got a couple of things going on, but nothing crazy. So let's go into Hotmail. Please confirm your email. Confirm. That's wrong. I shouldn't need to do that. That is the email that I'm going to get from here, from Heroku, in my my access, my settings under reveal config, this part here. SendGrid email and password, username and password is here. So username, copy. And password, copy. Login. Hopefully it won't say expired. Sometimes it does that. Never. All right, so that did it. Let's try it again. So something went wrong. Well, maybe it was because I hadn't verified my account, right? And that was the problem. So let's look at stats, overview. Yeah, nothing went through. You would have seen it right here as a message that would have gone through today. It would have come up right here as a message. Let's try it again. So I'm going to go kind of back to the drawing board. Sorry. And I may have to test locally, guys. I may have to go back test locally because sometimes I won't get messages up online from this, and that's a problem. Let me just kill some of these things. No, what happens is you won't be able to see some of this stuff because the errors are hidden. That's all I'm saying. So let's open this up. Go to contact us, and then do it again. And then try out this message, hello, and submit. Now this is okay. I don't know what's happening here yet, but it's definitely gone out. Okay, gone. I don't know, but let's see what's happening here. So if I refresh this page, right, then we should see if a message went through, we would have seen it, right, and I would have got it by now. So if I look at my Hotmail, right, then I would have seen it up on top here. Now it could have gone into junk mail, but chances are all this other crap is here, so I don't see it, right? Otherwise, it would have come through. So that it didn't work, guaranteed, 100%, right? And that's why I kind of went and stopped and kind of ached there and stopped, right? So now it's testing locally that I have to do. I can't test remotely anymore, which means I got to change up my local information. Now I don't have to put it up to GitHub to test locally. All I have to do is change up my well, actually, I don't really have to. I just have to, when it comes to my server, I can test locally here. So I'm just going to go into my server, right, and to show you how this works. And I'm going to go into localhost, and I'm going to look at my COMP1006. The only thing is this is pointing to a different server. That's all. And I'm going to look at lesson 12, which is today. And I should be able to do the same thing with my contact page, except I'll get better errors. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I can't get this error. I'm not getting this error, right, up online because Heroku protects it. And this is what I want. Undefined variable messages and C users, blah, blah, blah. This is what's stopping everything from happening. Okay, cool. I like this. We can resolve this issue locally, and then we'll put it up on remotely. Okay, so I'm saying, well, if messages is true, and here I'm saying messages, right? So I need to define messages up here somewhere. We're going to say something like messages is equal to blank. It's equal to, because sometimes that causes the issue, right? So save, go back, and refresh. Okay, cool. First problem. Next, let's try this out. So, and now this is all local, and I'll say hello, submit. What? No, but I'll see an error. Yeah, which is what I want to see. This is why I had the problem. Message has been sent, it says. However, it says, notice undefined index SendGrid API in C users Tom blah, 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 blah on line 19, right? And that's a problem. If I don't get the API documentation, I can't send a message, API, right? And this is where? Email.php, right, which is here. SendGrid API, somehow my env variable is not working. This part. It worked before, right? But it ain't working now. Remember I talked about this? I said that you need this has to work. If I undo, by the way, true, and I think I put in with this. get env. So I want to try and redo now. Just a moment to fix it. Redo, Control Shift Z. I thought there was that. Control Shift Z.
Shouldn't we give it to the API key itself? Because right now it's like getting an array element.
No, this is what's happening. It's returning this information to the API key, right? And then the API key is using this to send, right? So again, it's set env is what it did. Set env. This is Apache, it says, right? Apache set env, but that's not going to do it, right? Because set env, set environment is what we're trying to do. Is not going to work. This also is not going to take. It's not this, it's this. This one. By the way, you can get this function information when we looked at the SendGrid PHP, where down in here, go back one, where my get env, not set env. I'll be okay. Get env. I knew it was something weird. So get env, right? And it says that this is what I'm going to get. Type in word, typo, but I don't care. SendGrid is what it's going to be. All right, let's see if this works. I may not, but you know. But I still think I have to set env somewhere else. And I think they do it because they did get env, but then up here somewhere, I think they have to send the environment variable somewhere else. Well, let's see what happens. I'm gonna kind of try this a couple times, then we'll stop. Because I don't want to go over today. But this is the way I've tried it at home, and it works perfectly, right? Not this, the other way, with the actual API key. Put the API key in here, plop it in, right? And that API key works perfectly every time, right? And what I'll do is locally, I'll test it for you. I'll put it in here. I'll take the API key, plop it in here locally, right? And I'll just, and instead of like any kind of API key variable, I'll comment this out and I'll show you that it works, right? It's just getting it from the environment. Okay, cool. So refresh. Let's go back. So we'll go home. We'll go contact us. And we'll say the same thing. And we'll say hello. Submit. Message has been sent. Okay. I don't know if it's really true. Remember, this message is always going to be sent, right? So now the thing is to test it. So let's try and see if I'm getting it from Outlook. So back to junk mail, back to this. And sorry? No. And the other way to test it is, well, no, we're doing it through the network, right? The other way to test it is actually to go in SendGrid and see if there's any kind of information. So refresh. So if it's gone through, you'll see a request. Okay, now I'm getting desperate and I want to test it without this kind of problem because I don't know if it's actually working. I'm not getting an error anymore, which is very bad, right? So I want to, it's moving, but it's doing what I'm supposed to do. It's not giving me an error, but I don't know if it's going to work. So let's try it out. So let's just get the information. And again, I'm just going to grab this file or this stuff. Maybe I can go in here and grab it all. Copy. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just plop it in there. So for now, I'm going to just do one of these, paste, or inside quotations. I'll do that after. Paste. And do one of these. That's the actual API key, but who cares? I'm not saving it to GitHub for now. So hopefully they won't stop me, and I'll turn this part off. So who cares about this? That's the actual key. Save. and I'll try it again. So I'll go back to this contact page. No. No. I want to make sure it's correct. This one. Home, contact us, Tom. I want to check to see if I can actually do it before I do the environment variables. Hello, submit, sent. And now let's check to see if it's gone through by refreshing. Dashboard. It's not tunneling, which is a problem for me. So it could be that the content or the messages or the email is no good, and that's okay. I'm gonna start stubbing in those actual values instead of variables in a second, right? Because we don't know where the breakpoint is. I'm sending information to my function, but I don't know if it's receiving anything right now. Who knows, right? So I want to kind of send that information out. And if I check my email, I haven't been receiving an email, right? And I'm sure it's not blocked, right? Because it'll come through. If it was SendGrid, if it was some kind of weird email, it would come through here in my junk mail. So it's not. I'm getting all kinds of junk mail anyway, but it's okay. All right, let's see how else we can test this thing out. So to test this out otherwise, what I would probably do, which I normally do anyway, and I love live coding like this, guys. This is what happens, right? I'm testing out my email address. This is my email address, which is okay. But this email address, I don't know what I'm getting from here, right? So let us make sure that whatever I'm getting makes sense. So I'm going to say echo dot full name, okay, echo dot email address, echo contact number, then echo message. Okay, so I'm going to try this now. Over here and go home, refresh the page, contact us, Tom, and we'll say hello again, so we know it's me, and submit. There. So you see I'm getting all the information. It's piping through into that place. So the function is receiving everything, and it's saying that it's being sent. So that's the first. So this is the thing. So I'm testing it with as much information as I have. Right? I know the function is being processed because it's kind of not erroring out, which is a good thing. Who knows? No, I mean, it could be something that maybe I'm being blocked here locally, right? I don't know. Although it's supposed to be remote, but I mean, we are trying to send a request out. What I'm going to try and do now is undo some of these changes, right? Go back up to do it through Heroku because Heroku is not blocked; it's on the server, right? And then do it that way. So let's try that again. Because I'm getting a weird environment variable coming back saying, I don't know what that is. This is the actual SendGrid API, right? But I'm going to try it this way first. So this way, I'm going to basically go back. I'm going to undo. Let me get rid of all this. I know this is coming through now, so I don't care about this anymore. It's not this issue. Okay, so I want to send it like this. I'm going to put this up on GitHub. So I'm going to say git commit -m, and I'll say corrected bugs on page. Hit push. That's not very good commit. Origin master, and it's going to push up to GitHub. I'm going to go back to Heroku and see if it's pushed out. It's going. Good. And then I'm going to open the app again and see if it works differently now. Contact page, Tom. It shouldn't stop me this time with the message of, here's my message. Here's my message. And submit. Something's not right because it's not going to the next page. See how it's not going there? See how it stops?
But if there's just too much cache,
Oh, you're talking about caching again?
yeah, would that be a possibility?
If that's the case, then let me just grab this address. So copy. If that's the case, what you're talking about is inside of my page, you want me to go to incognito mode and try this out. And maybe you're thinking it's actually working or somehow. Right, so here's my contact page. Try it again. Here it is, my email address. And here's my new test message. Click submit. Not cache. But something is going wrong here because it's lagging here, and I'm not sure why it's stopping, right? Like there's got to be an error that's happening here that I can't see. And let me just test this these changes here locally, make sure there's no other error. Maybe I undid too many things. Yeah.
One question,
Yeah.
because in our case we have a different SendGrid call, like in the square brackets we have a different thing that we're calling than on the GitHub code that we grab.
And see, now this does this. Look,
It's not a real code.
yeah, there is. Oh no, it's Heroku. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to go here. I wanted to test it locally. Sorry, what do you mean? What were you saying?
When we go back there. I hope we just get all these
It's going to happen. No, I'm serious. It will. It will happen totally, right? And now, see, this works locally, right? So something is up remotely. Yeah.
What happens if you try, instead of just returning true, you try returning the response as your echo message?
I don't know what my response returns right now from an API perspective. That's why.
Just give it a go.
All right. Well, we can try it locally. So I'll say return response. But who knows what that means, right? And maybe what I want to do is echo the response first, right? So let's echo it first, right? And let's see what it does. And then we'll respond to it. I don't think it's going to be true false.
Okay, this is the thing, and we have the get environment.
Yes.
And we have get SendGrid API, and it's different from the one that was given on GitHub. Why?
Show where? Oh, you're talking about this. You're talking about this this other thing here. Hold on a second. Where I did a search for SendGrid PHP, and you're talking about this one. There's two. This one here is the other one that they showed on SendGrid, right? But they also pointed us back to this what's available on GitHub,
Yeah,
and that's what I was using.
I believe that the one on GitHub is different.
Yes. What they're doing here is they're breaking it out where they're just SendGrid send email, right? They're adding all this stuff, and then they're just going send the email, right? And what we're doing is posting the email, send post email, right? The mail, whatever the mail is. This works too, right? I know I've tested both ways, and I'll show you the version that I had before, right? But anyways, let's see what we get here with the response. Because I don't think this response is going to be anything we can post at all, right? So I'll go here, and especially since, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So this is localhost. I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go to contact page. I'm going to go to Tom, and we're going to go to yet another test. Submit, and this is what I was hoping for. So cacheable error, object of class SendGrid response could not be converted to string.
And
Yeah, I know that, but I don't know what it is though.
Echo, because that's the only thing we changed.
Yeah, no, I know it's an echo, but I don't know what type it is, what the response object is sending. So what does the send? I'm going to get back the post response. That's what's happening. Send post. That's what's That's what's returning, right? So if I look it up from an API perspective, I'm going to say SendGrid PHP posts. That's not what I meant. I mean, what is my API documentation? Pass URL. They're using a session here where response, whatever the response is, and then I'm curling the close the session and printing. Oh, print R. Let's use print R. That's another way we can do it with instead of echo. Print R. Response. Hold on a second. Raw. Print raw. So what I want to do is go back here where I got that funky message and go here, here, and here. There it is. That's what I was looking for, right? Wrong credentials, right? Message permission denied, wrong credentials, right? Okay, so this is how we fix that. We're going to put in, to make sure it's not that, like I talked about, I'm going to go into, because that's why it's blocking. And I'm wondering if it just blocked me now because I've tried it too many times, right? That can be too, right? But I'm sure if you try, except this is the thing, that's what I'm telling you. You try it at home, it works great. Try it here. That's the way it works. So, no, it wouldn't give me wrong credentials though. So, see, and let's just put this in there. Now this is the right credentials, right? Because that's the API key. Let us try this again. Oh, this won't work because you need quotations around everything. Sorry, guys. I know it's long and painstaking, but it's what happens when you do PHP. You run it and you bang your head against it until you get it done. No, I'm being honest. That's how I do it, right? I just keep on troubleshooting until I've got a solution, right? Otherwise, what'll happen is there's going to be something I'm missing, and then it's bad, right? So test 3, submit. Okay, it's good. See, it says 202. That's good. Headers protected, array 0. I mean, it worked. That worked. That's a positive response. Status code. Response status code 202, right? Headers protected, array 0, accepted, server, content type, access control origin, max age 600, no cores reason, SendGrid, Conch, Docs, Classroom, Basics, API cores. What's this? This is cross-origin. Cross-origin. That's what it is. Cross-origin security.
Does that mean you got it?
That means that it should work. Doesn't mean that I'm supposed to get an email. It means that it's supposed to work. All right, but
Yeah.
didn't before. So I don't know if you guys have been trying it at all with me, but that's the best way to do is to try it with other accounts and see if I'm doing something wrong. But that means that response has a status code that I can tap into. So if I go into view on GitHub, I bet you that the status code is what I want to look at. So status code, there we go. Response status code, print. So let's try that. Response status code. Is it in dash? It is status code. Status code is a method. All right. So all I care about is the status code. And if the status code is what I'm going to return, and if the status code is 200 or 202 or whatever, then I know everything went well. It's green. Otherwise, if it's a 4 or something, a 400 status code, and it's not good, right? Let's see what I'm getting now. So let's filter one more time. Go back up here. Go to home. Go to contact us. Put a full email in there. Okay. Here's another email. I'm gonna get flooded with email. I'm telling you, this will all work later on. Okay, 202. So that's good. So that's the status code. And if I was to mess up, this is good because that means this is the correct API key. So for me to get a status code 202 means it's going out and it's coming back okay. We're good. That's what 202 means. It's like a 200, but 202 is basically saying, yes, changes have been made. Thank you very much. Right? Okay, now let's check out what the other way of doing it. So we're going to just, I don't know. I'm going to copy this line for a second. And to prove that to fail, I'm going to put in my response code. Just copy all this thing in here. And go API key. So $ API key. And API key is going to be equal to, tell me. What was that? What do you mean? What test?
API underscore key.
This?
SendGrid underscore API underscore key.
This?
No, right?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Like,
API underscore key. After API.
I don't think we put that, man. That's my environment variable that I'm setting. That's the one I pulled from Heroku. That's how it worked last time. It actually printed out, right? But somehow now I can't get to it, right? Doesn't matter. We'll check this out. So I want to try and make a failed response. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to kind of do one of these where I kind of do one like this. Okay, so let's see if it fails. We made it work. I mean, in terms of our message, and I want to see it fail. So home, contact us, and try it again. Test 6. 401, right? 401 error. There's a 202 and a 401. Those are the two errors I'm getting. And it says this. It says controllers, email. It says, notice undefined index SendGrid API, right? For my environment. But it worked fine before. When I did it, remember I did it earlier and it kind of accepted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No problem. But this somehow, she no work, right? So we know it's a problem with this key. I'm not going to put it up on GitHub because that would just cause a red flag. So what I want to do is this. I want to say something like it returns the response, but the response is not going to be a true false. The response is going to be equal to something, right? 202 or 40. What did I get? 404 or 402? 401, which is something went wrong, right? So let's try and fix this. So I know this is the case. So I want to return my response dot status code. That's what I want to return. Status code. And status code is what I'm returning. I don't care about this anymore. I'm going to go back to using the other key for now. Yes, thank you. And what I'm going to do temporarily is, with this thing, I'm going to change my email, my receiving email address to something else. Can I send it to one of you guys?
Sure.
Okay. What is it? Maybe I shouldn't, because you're gonna be recorded too. That's no. I'll leave it. I'll take the risk. There you go. It's my Gmail address. Either one is fine. All right. So I'm just redirecting it to something else. Okay, cool. We've got our, we know, you know what? I know, I'm really happy about this. This works. So my vendor stuff that we did with Composer, no problem. Everything's working. Because if it didn't, then we would have a problem. Okay, now let's check out if this thing is working differently now. Okay, so now on the contact page, I can't test to see if this process email, right, as an example, is equal to true. I don't want to check for that. I want to check that it's equal to 202.
401 was the one. 202.
Right? If it's equal to 202, and I think it's probably going to be, well, I think it might be 202, but let me see if it's 202 like this. Then print message is sent. Else, if it's something else, it failed. And we'll try it again with quotations. So again, I'm going to try it out. So I'm going to go, actually, I better refresh. Let's change the code. Contact Tom. It's going to a different email as well. So it's not going to go to Hotmail. Test 7. Submit. SendGrid API. Did I not take that out? I left it both in. I did the wrong. Yeah, that's got to be out. So that, whatever that is, that's not working, my environment variable here in this particular case. It's funny. I'll test it later. Okay, but this has to be here. This can't be with, I can't do without this, but that's why I'm doing it up here. Okay. Da-da-da. Okay, let's go back out here and go home. Go home sounds good to me. Should sound good to you too. Test 8, submit. Okay, so positive response, message has been sent. It's going to Gmail.
Sure.
I heard it.
Yeah, it's signed.
Maybe it's the Hotmail thing. We're good. So to check Gmail, all that it was going. It was always going. Just it blocked somehow. My Hotmail blocked it. So
Microsoft has just its issues.
there it is. So this is what it would look like. So this isn't exactly what we want. It says test 7. The new lines aren't working. That's okay because at least we know what we're getting, right? Yes.
If it's HTML, would it be a break?
Backslash. Oh, the break? Yeah, I guess so.
That's what you're injecting.
Yeah, I got to inject something where it's not new lines. But this is the same idea. So this is test 7. Oh, look. That's actually Hotmail. What I'm getting.
Were you trying to send an email to yourself?
Yeah, I've been trying, but I'm trying to send emails from myself to myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that should still work.
It may not have worked.
Well, anyways, maybe that's the reason.
Maybe it's because like it's duplicated your email, so
It thinks I'm sending it to myself. Yeah, it's fine.
yeah.
So anyways, let's try this. That might be the issue for sure. So now I'm sending it to a different address. I have many addresses. This is one. But the problem that we have is this part. This, the way we do our response message, which is up here. So it's we're doing /n. Maybe we'll do \n. And maybe that would be better. How about that? We have a couple problems. One of them is my environment variable is not going to work, right?
Maybe try out the environment variable with the new email.
I don't know yet. I don't think that makes a difference. But this is important. Let's,
It's a possibility.
yeah, possible, but unlikely. Let's go back into here again. Let's send another message. So Tom, and you know what? My sending email address will be something else. It'll be I don't know. No, this is fine. And we'll say something like, this is a new message. Submit. I'm not getting it. But it doesn't mean anything. It just means I'm not patient, see? Okay, so test 8. test 7. It's coming through now. I told you I'm going to get a series of emails, right? It's nuts. I didn't send that. I sent something else. And I got a positive response. So it actually completed. But something messed up here now with these things. Was that? Maybe. You know, I'm being lazy, but so I got those. Maybe I got to do double escape. So let's say if I want to add, I might have to do a raw string. So let's do a raw string. So send a new line character in PHP. I care. There's always a way. Text after. Oh. Make sure to check your editor for its line break settings if you require some specific character sequence, /r, /n. So this is it.
Yeah.
You tried it? It worked? So /r, /n, /r, /n. Might be the problem. /r, /n. Okay, cool. And then let's send her again, right? So come over here, go to this, refresh the page. No, go home, contact us. This is another crazy message. We know it's something different. I don't know. See, now it sent it, and now it's not sending it anymore. It's infuriating. That was the last one I got. That was actually the last one.
On average, out of 100, how many of our emails should get? So that they are considered.
All of them should get there because look, this is all coming to me now, but this is a new message. That was the last message I sent off. So that new line character actually worked. I could have left it the way it was. But now let's see if the new one comes through, right? Because it just took a moment.
No, it was only the one line character that worked because you put one for
Maybe let's check a SendGrid if it's-
So your
Yeah.
one line character did work as well.
Let's see. Oh, I see. Yes, you're right. But this worked. The send message worked, but this
Yeah.
part didn't work. The first new line character worked, but none of the other ones. All
So, got it.
right, let's see what SendGrid tells us. So if I refresh on SendGrid, stats.
Well, there you go.
Says what's on it.
Okay. There we go.
This is good, right? This is what I want to see, right?
I'm
So-
surprised that number wasn't like 12.
Well, no, because what happened was there's another one that's coming. There it is. That no, but I did. Oh, what's this?
No, it turned it purple. Those
Why would
artists turned it purple, but you didn't get me one.
It didn't do a goddamn thing. It didn't do a thing, Richie. All right, let's see what's happening. Let's make sure. Maybe we'll space out the backslash and. Anyways, you get the point. The point is it works, right? You can make it your own. You can figure out the whole thing. And I'm something minor that we're having a problem with. Let's leave it alone. I'm not going to upload this to GitHub. This part, please watch the video because of I don't know what the environment variable problem is, but the way it should work is just like this, using the environment variable with SendGrid API.
Or just put like your.
Yeah, I can put the API. Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
API here.
So it should be what it should be is your API key.
Yeah. For your API.
Yeah, I'll put that in there. So I'll pay. So it won't work, but I'll put your API key. Right. That's what it'll be in there. Right. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
All right, and then I'll put this up on GitHub. So git add dot git commit -m, and we'll say fixed error with email controller. We did, right? Git push origin master. Now, what you would do is to make it work without using the environment variable is just push this to a private repo and it would work. Like if I had a private repo right now, I wouldn't even have a problem. It'd be working online too. All right. Before I leave you guys and let you guys go, we got to talk about strategies around finishing assignment 2, right? Remember that one of the things that I asked you for assignment 2, and this is going back to what Thomas was asking me before the break, is so we took care of this part, right? Secure dashboard, right? Are you okay, Alex?
Yep.
What? This rest secure dashboard we did already, right?
Yeah.
You did it already. You just move your secure dashboard in there, made it secure. Dynamic page creation, though, when it comes to this, and we want to make a page template. Think about how to do that. We want to make a new view, right?
Yeah.
So if I go to my my project, okay, so here's my project view, and if I look at my views, I have content, right, and so on. I could have another section which I recommend called something like CMS. I think that's what I asked you to do too, if I'm not wrong. So if I go to the structure, site security CMS, or the site structure, here it is, views partial CMS. Include a CMS subfolder that includes your CMS template partial page, right? If you follow this thing and instead of users, I put auth. If you use users, I wouldn't be upset, right? But if you follow what I've asked you to do, you're gonna be okay, right? So again, here, to do your dashboard, you need a template. The template itself is what the page is going to display, right? So what is your partial page going to look like? Just like we do our other pages. I've already got kind of a template going, right? No? Here's what the template looks like. Take a look. Yeah, well, if you look at my, oops, not that. If you look at my PHP under views, right, I have under my my index.php, my index.php is actually a router, right? So it basically routes on page ID. So whatever the page ID is, if it's an about, then it does this. If it's contact, if it does this. Login, right? Well, again, what you want to do is, what if the page ID is something else? You can make it so that there is, if it's on something else that you're getting, like the page, right? I'm using a router to do this all, right? And these are all static pages. When I say static pages, there's no dynamicness about them. They belong here. They're not on a database somewhere, right? That's what static pages are. They're pages that are inside my application, right? Already, right? So that's what this routing thing does, right? So think about if you're going to make this thing work dynamically, it's still got to go through the router because your page ID is going to be equal to something. Better make it page, right? So if my page ID is page or CMS, yes.
For the routing for the dynamic pages, you want a separate title for each different page? Like I can definitely link.
Not a title, it'd just be the ID, right? Remember, you can use.
Can it just be one ID that links to like the switch?
Yes, you could, and then when you go to that page, you can have a separate switch,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
So what you can do is what I was going to go to. So for example, let's say you go to the page ID, and my page ID is equal to page or CMS or something else like that, right? That switch, depending on what you're getting. So if I go to that custom page that I'm making, all custom pages start with page or CMS or something, which is going to come in here. It's going to route in here, right? Let's suppose, right? And so it's going to show the custom page, whatever that custom page is. Now, the template is going to be under views, under CMS. So let's make that. So if I go to here, and if I go to, from what I'm asking you to do, if I go to directory, I'm going to make a CMS directory. It's just a folder, right? Under my folder, I need to make a template. So I'm going to make a new template, right? And let's just call this, again, you can call it page, CMS, whatever, right? This is what you need to do, right? So you can call it whatever you like though, right? Okay, so now that I got my page.php in here, just like I have my in my index.php, I have this, right? I'm sending information to my page.php page, right? This page.php, right, is going to be another one of these, right? Depending on what the ID is, the sub ID of that page. You could do it that way. The other option is, if you notice, I'm just putting it out there for you guys. We've already done multiple IDs with the details page, right? So remember our details page inside of our games, under details. Notice how I'm sending my game lists, right? So here's my game list when I add the submit button, right? I'm clicking the submit button, and up on the top here, I'm sending my page ID is game update, right? Game update. And then I'm sending multiple pieces of information, and I can separate them with an ampersand. Remember, we talked about that last week. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So when I get that, this is the route, right? Whatever I route back to index.php, everything is going to route back to index.php, guys. Everything, right? Where my page ID is equal to game update and ampersand, something else is equal to something else, right? And that something else equal to something else is the information that's going to tell me that if my page ID is equal to page, right? Page is equal to page, and my ID, so that page ID, the ID for that page is equal to 3. Go to this. Go to that page if that page exists, right? Because right now all it's doing is these are going to static pages that are already on my website. They're not in my database at all, right? But we're going to store our information in a database table called probably pages, right? That's what I recommend.
What's CMS stand for?
Content management system, right? So my page.php is just a template, a partial page that's going to have the same header and footer as every other page that I already have, right?
Why wouldn't it be in partials?
Well, partials are only my headers, and the only thing I have in partials is footer, header, and navbar, right? All of these are partials, really. Even my game, my delete, my details, my list, all of them are partial pages. Partials are just like little components, like footer, header, navbar, but the other pages are actual views, right? So my game view, my game delete view, my CMS page view, right? That's how I read it, right?
So why wouldn't it be in content?
Why would what?
Why wouldn't it be in
Content
content?
I'm using for static content,
Okay.
right? So content about, content contact, right? And I also could have, my dashboard is incorrect here. My dashboard should be also in my CMS area because my dashboard is only accessible if you're logged in, right? Or maybe it's going to be somewhere else because you shouldn't access your dashboard. Dashboard is just my dashboard that I get in when I'm logged in and verified, right? I should have another index page, probably inside of my views, an index.php, another one, right? That basically takes me back to, or some other kind of page, home.php, that takes me back to my landing page, which also should be inside my content. Let me fix that for you. Because right now you're seeing dashboard, and that's not what you should be seeing. So if I go into new PHP file, and let's call this home.php, right? And I want to add it in. Thanks a lot for sticking around, right? So here's my home.php. Well, it's going to be very similar, if not identical, to my dashboard.php. So here's my dashboard. I got all this, right? But instead of showing dashboard, right? I'm just going to grab all this stuff. This is just a template, right? So copy. And go into my home and paste, right? And I don't want all this stuff. I just want some kind of welcome kind of message. So welcome, and then maybe some kind of I'm going to use Bootstrap like I told you guys before, right? So get Bootstrap, and if I want to use a component, which would be something like a Jumbotron. Here's a Jumbotron. So let me just grab this Jumbotron here for a second. Copy. And go in here. And instead of this welcome, let's get rid of this welcome even and put the Jumbotron in there, right? So we'll say welcome in here. Welcome. And then we don't need a button. So we'll get rid of this button. And you can have some paragraph text here that includes some funky text goes here. Goes here to welcome the user. Right? It's just going to show you this. So then in my index.php, when I go home, when I go to my home page, right? It's not going to go here. Let's comment this out for a second. It's not going to go there, right? It's going to go to template is equal to views, and then it's going to be content, and then home.php, right? That's my home page. My dashboard is only going to be accessible for people who are logged in, right? So let's try this out. So I'll go back. Now I won't be able to get to my games or anything yet because I haven't linked it up. See? So that's what your homepage should. I mean, better than that, maybe some images or something, right? But your homepage should look. And actually, the reason why it's doing this is because I put in too many. It's inside this column offset here, and I shouldn't even put it in a row. It should be in a container. So let's get rid of all this. 2 div tags gone. And that way I don't need these div tags. And it'll be even simpler like this. There we go. So you can see that this is what the home page will look like. When you log in, right? When you log in, instead of taking you to the that's another issue. That's because I'm connecting to my database from here, right? I'm connecting to my database. I can't connect to my database. I have to connect locally. There's no error. This is just me connecting through here to ClearDB. I can't because my ports are blocked, right? So for me to fix this error, like I did before, I'm going to go to my config database. And I'm just going to uncomment. I'm going to comment these ones out. And uncomment these ones. Okay. So home, log in, and now we're logged in, right? And now instead of it taking me home, it should take me to my dashboard. So when I'm logged in, I need a new dashboard link in my page. So if I go into my index.php, right, I don't have a dashboard, right? My case should be about, instead of about, contact, and login, there should be another one in here that says dashboard, right? And it should be pretty right after my register pages or whatever. So my games list is one thing. That's my games list. Well, my dashboard should be, you know, kind of the ability for me to be logged in there. And so I'm going to say something like this, dashboard. I don't have this yet, but I will set it up. So it's another condition, right? And then let's grab these 2 things here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it inside here. Just restructuring again. Where my site title is dashboard. And it's not going to be views, users, register. It's right here under views. So I need to put this somewhere where it's secure. And most likely my dashboard is my CMS dashboard. So I'm going to move it in there. Okay.
Do you only want it to show up on the one like login homepage, or do you want it once you log in on any page?
Once I'm logged in, the dashboard shows up.
Like on every, it'd be added as partial to every.
If you want to.
If you're logged in.
If you want to, yeah, you can do that. That's perfectly fine. That's how it works in what's it called, WordPress, right? But here I'm just making a dashboard where you can link to other pages for my dashboard, right?
Yeah.
But you could totally do this. So here's my dashboard, right? Now it's going to go to dashboard. It's under CMS, so views, CMS, dashboard.php. So now I have my path, right? But now I have to send it to dashboard.php. I haven't done that yet. And the way to do that is when I log in, I got to change some of this stuff. So I go to my login page. So if I go, so these are all my views, right? So if I go to users login, right, this just, basically has my title and I log in, but it gets processed by my login controller, which is up here. So when I log in, right, so if I go to, if I go up here to my users controller, right, when I'm successfully logged in, I want to redirect myself instead of going to index.php, where it's going right now. This is if password verified, blah, 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 blah. I'm good, is logged in is equal to true, display name is equal to hash display name. Then I want to go to index.php, and then it's got to go to dashboard. So where my page ID, this is the first time I'm going to see this, page ID, right, is equal to dashboard, which we haven't seen before. It's never gone there, right? Just to show you this, right? And the same thing when I register. When I register, it's going to do the whole registration piece, right? So I'm not going to have to do this again. Okay. So let's check this out. Let's check this out and see if that part worked. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to log out. I'm going to log back in. And now it's taking me to my dashboard, right? Now here's the problem. I don't protect my page, my dashboard page, and I need to protect it. Remember how we did that? So because I can get there by putting my page ID is equal to dashboard, right? So now my games list will work. This will work. But I want to protect my games list from ever working. I don't want to ever see that. And by the way, where's my dashboard, right? So what you said was, can I show my dashboard on every one of these pages? Yeah, you can include that little partial, right, at the top of your page or the side. Yeah.
You'd have the session start at the top of your dashboard.
Correct. I got to do all the same stuff I do with my games list. So for hints on what to do, I'm going to go to my games list. So here's under my games controller. Here's my games controller. And notice that I want to do execute and close. Well, no, this is my games controller. I want to go to my games list, this one. So I want to do this. So whenever I go to my list, I want to do include my controller, check if authenticate, right? And that's all I need. So I'm not doing anything else, just these two parts. So I'm going to copy these parts and go to my CMS dashboard. And that's at the top. So I want to kind of put in, oops. I want to put in PHP. You guys get it, what I'm saying here? So the dashboard that I originally had, I'm hiding now, right? So here I'm putting this in, so I'm checking to see if I'm logged in, right? And if I'm authenticated, then I can access the dashboard, right? Not before, okay? So that's what this part does. And I might as well do the same thing with my pages. All my pages should be the same. All my template pages should also be protected, right? Well, wait, should they? Because they're template pages. They're just pages to show my templates. Really, no, right?
So wait, we have 5 pages that are ready
to
build?
Up to 5. No. Don't make it like that. That means like you'd have page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't want to do that. You want one template page, and whatever the template you're accessing is you're going to put in. That's another piece they were missing, right? Okay, let me explain this for a second. All right, so here's my controllers, users, PHP, check if authenticate. Let's see if I can do that first. One thing at a time. So log out, and let's try and get there by myself. So if I put in dashboard here, I know that's there. Press enter, it's going to take me to log in. It works. If I log in, however, it takes me to my dashboard. Now this takes me back to my page, my home page, because on my dashboard actually points back to home page, and which means I don't really need it. Hold on. So here, where it says dashboard, get rid of this. Right. Now, about and contact pages, who cares about these? They should be always available. So my about page is there, my about.php, but it's not available on my page. My contact page, it's already there on my links. Well, actually, no, it's not. Let's leave it the way it is. You'd have to add it on top. But this part, my games is one. But what if I wanted to create in my dashboard? I wanted to create a new page. So create new page. That would be in your dashboard. Edit, create, edit, whatever it's going to be, right? And you might also say, these are my custom page list. You might want to list all your custom pages that are ones that you've already accessed, right? So I could put a list item, and again, I could put a list item that says add page, right? Add custom page, right? Or add dynamic page, whatever you want to call it. Add new page. And I'll put another one. I'll make link a bunch of items. So instead of add, delete page, right? And then I'll put edit page. And so those are the things that would be inside of your dashboard, because you can only access your dashboard from here, right? So if I go back to here, and if I go back to dashboard, I don't have a link for that, but I will. So I'll click on page equal to dashboard. Then I can see these additional things that I would have in here. And again, like you said, I might want to put my dashboard, Sean. I might want to put my dashboard on the side of every page that I have, every one of my custom pages or whatever that I'm accessing, right? Add, delete, edit, whatever, right? So, but here I have no way of getting to my dashboard. I have to remember that it's there. So I might as well put it on the top here, and I only want to show it when I'm logged in, right? So how do I do that? Same way when I did this, my logout link, I would do my dashboard page. So in my nav bar, right, this is part of it, right? What I want to do in my nav bar is just like I'm logged in. If I'm logged in, then I want to show logout. Well, I also want to show my dashboard. So I'm going to kind of copy this. And I want to show it before my logout. So I'll put it up here. And this is going to be my dashboard, right? And it's going to say dashboard, right? And it won't be sign logout. Let's pick another one. So we're going to go to Font Awesome. Okay, they found it somehow. And then I'm going to find some kind of dashboard, some kind of icon that makes sense. So dashboard, dash cube, tachometer. Perfect. I like that one. There's my dashboard. So it's going to be tachometer. So it's going to look like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it works, right? So that's all I care about. So copy an FA tachometer is what I want to put in here. Right, there we go. Copy and go back out to my page. And let's see how that looks. So log out, log in, dashboard, right? Now I got that link. You see what I did? All I'm doing is I'm adding an extra link only when I'm logged in. So it never shows up unless I'm logged in, right? So click log in, my dashboard shows up. Now my dashboard shows some other stuff. Now about page, contact page shouldn't be here, right? It should be up here on the links. Let's put them in, right? And then modify this so it only show games list. Huh?
Just keep going, eh? You don't stop.
Do you want me to stop?
You're like a machine.
No, keep going.
I love it.
I'm trying to give you the ways. I can't give you everything, but I can give you the way for you to understand what I need to do next, right?
No, it's you're the machine. You just keep going. I love it.
Okay, good.
Let's keep going.
So if you look at the dashboard, this kind of idea, I'll put this up on GitHub for you guys too, no problem, right? But what I want to show you is this. The other part, the most difficult part, is getting your pages working, right? All right, so I got my dashboard. That's cool, but this only shows up if I'm logged in. My index, my home page will always show up, this part here, because there's no if statement to check if I'm logged in here. So what I want to do is I want to take this same idea, right? And I want to duplicate it a couple times. So one of these and one of those, right? So one of the links is going to be, instead of my home page, right? And let's just to break it up so we can see it, I'm gonna break it up after the I tag. So go to the I tag and break it up, just like this. Doesn't really matter. You'll be able to see it all in one, but just so that we can see it, I don't have to go back and forth. It's kind of annoying. So home, this will be about, and this is contact. This will be about. This is contacts. Right, this won't be index.php. The href for about will be, with page ID is equal to about, right? With page ID is equal to contact, right? And then these symbols for home and should be different. The about should be something like or contact should be a phone. And the about page should be maybe some kind of info, right? Like, and then when we go back, we go here and we refresh, you'll see that the links are here from a home and about, and contact, right? If I'm not logged in though, it'll look like this, right? Because I should always see a home, about, and contact. They're static pages. So I should be able to get a contact page no matter what. They're not protected, right? Nothing in my about us, but my home page should be this. When I log in though, I see those plus, hey, how you doing? And then my dashboard. And it takes me right to my dashboard page. You get it? My dashboard page is protected. Everything else I can get to. Okay. The other option is, and this is just something that I'm just showing this kind of idea for these pages, home, about, and contact, right? When I go to my dashboard, I want to be able to link to these pages. So think about this. This is your part to do, right? I need to set up a database table. My database table is going to be called pages, right? In my pages table, I'm going to have a bunch of fields. ID is going to be the primary key, right? I'm telling you how to do it, so I'm not going to do it, but I want you to listen, right? And hopefully it's being recorded so you can hear it too later on. Then you're going to have a title. That's going to be part of your pages table, right? You're going to have content. And that could be something like your varchar, 3000 or whatever, however many, you want in. Yes.
Use the title as the primary key.
It's up to you. I'm just telling you what I would do. If you want to use title as primary key, you would. I wouldn't. I would use the ID as the primary key. It's much easier, right? Because you don't know what the title is going to be. So depending on the ID that you're getting, then you're going to switch, right? So now that I have these pages, the database setup, when I go to my dashboard, this is the business rules. Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to subtract them. Sorry, and I'm remembering. So let me go back to my dashboard. Here it is, and I don't need these pages anymore in my dashboard, right? Because about and contact shouldn't be there. It's only should be only be this path. And this doesn't make any sense anymore, this if statement, because the only way I'm going to get to my dashboard is if I'm logged in. So this is a redundant if statement, right? That's checking to see if I'm logged in. I'm never going to be able to get there unless I'm logged in. So therefore, I don't need that. But these pages here, these additional links that we're talking about here with a list item, and you want to make a separator, I don't know, item, I don't know, some kind of separator, like equals, right? So when you do this add new page, delete page, these should be links to do stuff. So when I click my add new page, delete new page, or edit, now I'm creating a whole other CRUD situation, right? Just like I did for my games list. It's very similar to that. I already have this solution, right? My games list is the exact solution, right? For listing my pages. If I want to list my pages, edit my pages, and delete my pages and all that stuff, that portion of it, you already know how to do because that's my games list, right? So let's go back here and refresh. There's my games list. This is ugly, but you know what I'm talking about. So my games list itself shows this. Imagine this is not a games list, but rather a page list, right? So my ID, the title, you maybe want to, maybe don't want to show the content, but some other stuff, right? And you may have an edit button and a delete button. You can do those things. Now, for it to display, how do I get to my page list and all that kind of stuff? That's a totally different thing. You need to have a way to see the page, whatever that page is. So you need to be able to add it to the routing table somehow, right? How do I do it? Well, there's a couple ways to do that. I can add some dynamic content to my nav bar. Right now, my nav bar only holds this data, but I have more space here, right? I could add 5 more links if I really want. It's crazy, but I could, right? And those links are going to have, it's going to show the title of those links on the nav bar. How would I do that? If I'm running I would run a loop, right? For every one of those things that are there, I would add more links to the nav bar. That's what I would do. So going back to my PHP Storm, under my nav bar, here's my nav bar. Right now, there is no looping mechanism here. I'm just straight, outputting these things. Maybe I'm going to have a section in my nav bar, definitely before the area that I'm logged in, but after these static pages, as an example, where I have, I can't put those in. I might have pages, dynamic pages go here. Dynamic pages go here, right? And what I'm going to do is create a for loop. So again, I'm just pseudocoding it for you guys. I would create a for loop, right, with PHP that loops according to the number of pages in the pages table. So if I have, as an example, if I have 5 pages, I'm asking you to do 5. Please don't do more than 5 because it won't fit on my nav bar, right? But if I do 5 pages, it's going to loop through 5 times. Every time it loops through, just like we add list items, these are just list items, right, that are going in the nav bar. We already added list items to the games list, right? Here, yes.
Do you want these dynamic pages to find them already built?
No, it's just going to use one page template, and what you're going to do is route to them. Let me show you.
Okay, you said you didn't want 1.5.
But no more than, I don't want you to have, I don't want you to test more than 5 pages, because if you test more than 5, it'll break my nav bar. It'll be too many things on the nav bar. You won't be able to see anything, right? So as an example, here's a for each loop. For every game as game, right? Games, for every game in games, that's what this is, loop. This same for each loop you can use to loop through the number of pages in the page table. Page in the pages table, right? Same idea, same PHP loop, this for each. And just like you have a table row here, you wouldn't have a table row, but rather a list item, right? So for each list item, you add a new list item with different information. That's how you do it. So I would start it off for you. So the way it would work is, if I go back to my nav bar, so that's one part. You have to kind of read the table. So I would do something like, and then in pseudocode, I'll put it in kind of down in here, so you can see what it looks like, right? So I'm going to go to my list. Already right here, this for each statement, right? So I'm going to just grab this for a second. Oops. Copy and paste in my nav bar. Let's just bring this closer. So my list, I would do undo. I want it to go in there. So okay, that kind of broke because of this. But I don't need all of this, right? I need some kind of looping mechanism to, for each, not games as game. I don't want that. I want for each, page as, page as pages. Now, the only way that I can get pages like this, pages, right, in the pages table, is if I pass it in to this file, into my nav bar, right? Undo. Sorry, this should be pages. Stupid PHP Storm, right? So for each pages as page as pages, right? Page is the looping mechanism. So that's however many I have. I'm going to put a list item in here, right? So I'm going to make a list item that looks like a link, like this, right? So let's just grab another link. So I'm going to copy this and I put it in here. So instead of pre-populating them, it's going to go through. What the heck? Oh, I hit this one, but not these ones. Not these ones. It won't undo those, but everything else is good. I know the comment doesn't work, right? But you get the point. The point is it'll loop through for every page and pages. It'll loop through, right? And I wonder if I can comment it out somehow. I don't think I can. So let's just take this out and just go this, so you know what it is. So PHP means, and then you'd have your PHP in here. There we go. Right? That would work because it doesn't identify PHP. I'm just taking those out so you can see what happens. So this would loop through and create a bunch of pages that check to see if the title is the active title, right? And then it would create its own link, and this link would be the page ID as, right, the page title, right? Whatever that title page is, right? Because title is going to be something that's part of each page, right? Page title, page ID, and so on, right? And also not just page ID and page title, but page content. You want to kind of, inject page content in here, right? So this is something that you would do for each of the links in your nav bar. All right. Now this isn't complete. This is just pseudocode. So please don't take it and try and use it. It won't work, right? But that's what you would do for your for each loop. And of course, it wouldn't be the phone. It would be whatever the icon is going to be. I'll put icon, whatever the icon is, right? For that particular page. Well, you don't have to have an icon, right?
Okay.
If you just want to put the links to the pages, that's fine. If you want to use a custom icon, that could be another thing you put in your pages table. What's the icon that you want to use? And give the user 4 or 5 icons to choose from, right? And then if they choose the person icon or whatever that is, you take that and store that information in the table too. So you have all the information you need in the table. Now, routing, and that's the big one. How do I route to these pages, right? So first I've got to create the pages. Creating the pages and putting all the information is just a form field that you fill out. Here's the form that I filled out. Now the pages exist. So what would you do?
Whatever the title that they use for their page, that's what you're routed to.
You could do that way. That's what you were saying. What about you?
I created a dynamic page, and it would route to that page depending on which page the link sends in information to the get.
Right.
And it retrieves that part from the database.
That's what you're supposed to. So the page template is where everything's going to fill in. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. I'll come back.
Yeah, it just goes to the template and then echoes whatever the title is.
Right. All that stuff is going to be injected inside of the template page. That's all that's going to happen. Right. Yeah. Yes, you can, because you have pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. We give them
Right. I already asked you for 5 pages. I'm not making it complex switching. Right.
We give them static IDs.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, then yes. But
That's what I asked for. I said 5 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right.
so exactly 5, no more. No less.
Just for now. Like it's just for you. Remember, that's what I told you. It's this. There's more to this if you're going to do routing, right? And we have no time for it, right? So I only can show you the basics of how to get dynamic pages working.
And how do we check if there are 5 pages already? What pages are formatting?
Yeah, put those in the table.
Exactly.
Okay.
You have access to the database, right? It's all database access. This is your work to do it, right? So you count how many pages or table or links or rows are in the table. Depending on how many rows, that's how many pages you got, right?
Not thank you for 7 hours.
I understand. So then for routing, you don't have to do it here, right? You could do it in your index.php. And again, if your index.php, if you go back to this, depending on what the case is going to be. So if my page ID is equal to page, right? Page. So let's make that. So case page, right? Remember, this is just like page ID is equal to page, right? Don't worry about this for a second. Then in here, right, if there was such a case, here's my pseudocode, right? Okay, so you'd want to write in here, and this is where I can put these things. Count how many pages are in your table somehow, right? That's the first thing you have to do, count. Now you may have to call another page to go to, which is a controller that counts all the stuff. So some function you're going to call to do this, count how many pages, and then check which page the user wants to go to, right? So in other words, page is the ID, but there's also going to be an ampersand. So what it's going to look like. So routing might look like this. Routing might look like this, right? Index.php, always going to be index.php. Question mark, page ID, that's what it would look like, guys, is equal to page and, right, ID is equal to 1. Right? So now there's two pieces of information, the page ID and the ID, or the title, if you want to search by, do title, or whatever you want to look through, right? And, or maybe the, so this is the link for this particular page. And if you had another one, right, let's do another page. So let's say 5 pages we talked about, right? So, oops, undo. Hold on a second, Alex. I got your hand. Put your hand down, or else I'll go punch it, right? Okay. So routing might look like, and bear with me while I do this, while I kind of redo this for you guys. So you get an understanding of what kind of pages. There might be these kind of pages, right? All these kind of different page, page links, right? 1, 2, 3. Hold on. I know I know you're getting ideas, right? So that's why I'm good, right? I'm good with this kind of stuff. So tell me first, what are you thinking?
Wouldn't it be less exciting if you just said, for example, use a query, select content from from websites where ID equals ID, and
That's how you're going to get the data, but
Yeah,
that's not going to do this,
you
right?
can just inject the data.
Yes, but where are you injecting into, and how are you going to select which one?
Page that
You could.
is getting routed.
You could. Yes. What else?
Instead of doing that, you just use echo the ID that you got from the query.
Correct. You could do that too.
You don't need to rewrite it every time.
No, but I'm saying these are the links. Each of these links would be the links to those new pages, right?
Yeah, but you
1,
don't
2, 3,
need
4, 5.
Individual links to one.
You would.
They'll create.
Oh no, not for each one page would have all the links, right? What that page, the page case would be able to kind of figure out which page to go to.
Yeah, because you're posting.
Right. It wouldn't be
there, and that ID's
going to be right here, right? It's going to redirect you because your template string is going to still be in here. Definitely template string for 100% is always going to be always going to be page.php. So it'll be something like CMS page PHP. That's for sure, right? Because it's going to be one template that you're going to send information to, right? So your page PHP, right, is the one that you're going to fill up. You're always going to have this part. You're going to have a header, a nav bar, and a footer. And inside the template string, this is what's going to display which page is going to be, just like we do now. This part, don't touch this part. This is the exact same. Nothing's going to change here, right? It's just something in here in your page. This is what you have to do to check to see how you get there, right? And how you loop through on your nav bar. Those are the difficult parts, and you got to kind of think about it a little bit. There's the thinking part, right? So first, set up your table. This is what I would do. Set up your table. Make sure your table is formatted properly or formulated properly so that it has all the fields that you want. Okay, all the columns that you want. Put them in your table. Whatever you want your user to have access to. For example, if you want to have access to things like the icon that you want on the nav bar, put that in a header instead of a field, right? If you want, whatever other items, not just content, but other things you want the user to select when he fills in the add new page form, put it inside the table, whatever you want, right? The icon, make it a drop-down menu, a drop-down list. So you have example 4 or 5 different choices. Which icon do you want to associate with your link? This one? Okay, cool. Choose it. And when you choose that one, the table is going to be filled up with the appropriate information, right? So that add page, you need to create pages. And I'm going to go into my project for a second. Now, hopefully, I've given you enough information to give you the right direction, okay? But take a look at the CMS page. I have page, right? I also need, under my CMS, I need add, right? So I'm going to add some files here. I'm going to make them blank for now. Add, right? I also need,
That is going to be like the details.
Right. Sorry. Let me rename that. Let me rename that to details. Exactly the same, but let's rename that to where is it? I'm getting tired too, guys. I'm so sorry. I just can't see it. Refactor rename. Here it is. Refactor rename, and we're going to go into details. right? There's the details refactored. So your details page, dashboard, details right now is empty, but you need that your page, that would be your template page. So this is your template page. So template page, we'll say. Template page, right? And this is your details page. So this is your template page. That was weird. Template page. And this is your details page. This is your page used for add/edit, right? Just like we did the other one, right? So yeah, your that page, and let's take a look what else you have here. Delete. You might have a delete, but that's going to be the same kind of fun. There won't be a delete page. It'll just be a delete function, right? Somehow, right? Same thing, and then maybe a list, right? Like a list of all the pages. You may want to see those too, so you can edit them and modify them easily, right? So let's add that in. So new PHP page. You get the idea, right? List, and this page, yes, will be lists. This page produces a list of all your dynamic pages, right? We can also have an item, an option in your table to enable or disable different pages. An example, let's say you wanted to add more than 5 pages, right? You can add 10 pages, 20 pages, whatever, but only 5 pages can be enabled at any one time. Correct. Right. You can decide whether you want them to be added or not, right? So they're not added to the page. The only ones that you want to add to your nav bar are the ones, and you can filter through that in your table to add those to the nav bar.
You can make them in a drop-down menu.
You can do that too, but I only want 5.
Okay.
So these are the pages you need in your CMS. So I've already told you this part. These are the pages you need to list there, right? And that's great. But the routing is the other piece. How do you get to those pages? Once I add the pages in, how does your website know that there's more pages in there, right? How do I know that? Well, one, you use your nav bar. Your nav bar is your key mechanism. That's going to add the links to your pages that you've added in. You look through all the list of all the links that you've added into your pages, all the pages, depending on how many pages you have in your pages table, your nav bar is going to add that many. Hopefully no more than 5. Otherwise, even 5 is going to be packed for your nav bar, unless you do something like drop-down lists. A drop-down, like new dynamic pages and then a drop-down list, right? That's one way. And then from those pages, those pages are going to have IDs, right? So depending on the ID, then you're going to go back to your routing, and the routing is going to decide, do whatever the ID is, it's going to take it and fill that template page in with the data you want.
You don't have to have a restriction that it won't be more than 5, right?
No. But I'm saying on the nav bar, there shouldn't be more than 5, right? Otherwise, it just won't work. It'll break, right? Make sense? Is that enough information?
Yeah.
Good. Hopefully you have enough. I'm going to put this up on GitHub so you have this detail, right? So I'm going to say git add dot git commit -m. I'll say scaffolded out, page structure for CMS. Push origin master. Again, there's no work done for you here. You have lots of work to do. Yeah.
So should I add all the files in the vendor folder? Because mine is a little different than yours.
You mean when you did your composer?
Yeah.
What would happen?
Well, I said that the SendGrid is a dependency,
Right.
and then it downloaded the vendor folder
Right.
with all the SendGrid files.
That's what mine did.
What's that?
That's what mine did too.
Yeah, but yours did it like automatically or something.
No. I actually had to go composer install afterwards.
Okay, do I put those files up on GitHub though? I'm using Azure, I'm not using-
Yeah, you might want to try that. I don't know what Azure does with your stuff. It's not going to hurt.
like just add all the files.
Yeah. So basically, don't add a git ignore file. So how the git ignore file shows this, don't even add the git ignore file, and you're good to go. Okay. Yeah.
One question: Where did we add the API key. In what?
Where?
You said it's like a environmental.
Under
variable.
controllers, I'm telling you, it doesn't work. I couldn't get it to work, but
Okay.
where you would add it in your environment variables, if you can make it work, would be here in your settings. Under your you go to config variables and you put it in. You make a new one. I just called it SendGrid API, and then you put it in there. And then what you do is you access it with $_env, env, which didn't work for me. It only worked once actually. So that's where you put it in Azure. Just to show you this in Azure. So if I was to go to Azure for a second, so portal.azure.com. Hopefully it didn't trash me out too, because everyone's losing access these days. Right. If I go to my, let's see one here, this is one. So here's an older lesson from lesson 4, right? And just like we did before, this is a PHP site, right? So if I scroll down to application settings, right? Under application settings, I also have environment variables. If I scroll down enough, look, app settings. Here's your key value pairs right here. So you put in here the SendGrid, right, API, and then the value would be here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Whatever, and then you save. It'd be the exact same thing, right? So it works both on Azure and Heroku, right? I just can't get the API key. It doesn't mean this doesn't exist, right? Just my environment variable. I have to figure out how to get that information with env. Set env or get env. Doesn't work, right? All right. Now, nothing's wrong with Azure. I like using Azure, but if you don't have Azure working, don't try and get Azure at this point. All right. There's no point. Okay, because that would just trash your whole time. You waste more time trying to get Azure working than actually getting your assignment done. Okay.
I feel like Heroku is faster than the deploy.
Oh, it's good. Anyways, are we done? Can we go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. I'm good, right? So
We do this every week.
every week. All right. Take care, guys. See you next week. Good luck.